The theme for today is Legal Metrology and Consumer Protection, the journey towards Viksit Bharat 2047. Now, why our department, the Department of Legal Metrology and Consumer Protection, we chose this theme. And this theme is not only for today. For about a year now, our department has been holding this kind of program all over the state, in schools, in colleges, and other public places also. Now, this theme, as we all know, why do we call it, from where did this theme come from? Now, you might be aware that in the year 2023, our Honorable Prime Minister, he gave this slogan. And why 2047? We all know that India's independence centennial will be in the year 2047. So the Prime Minister and the Government of India, they believe that by the year 2047, that is 100 years of Indian independence, India should become a developed nation. Now we all know and we all hear that India is a developing country. But by the year 2047, the Government of India believes that India should be a developed nation. So I'm sure you all understand that Viksit Bharat means developed India by the year 2047. Now when we talk about Viksit Bharat, developed India, it doesn't mean that only the people living somewhere in Delhi or Bangalore or Mumbai will be developed. A country can be developed only when everyone in the country is developed, including Nagaland or including Jakhama also. So now if India wants to have a developed nation by 2047, everyone should be developed. So, and how do people develop? The onus, the burden of working on this area is the different departments. Now, legal metrology and consumer protection is also one of the departments of our country. So, as a department, the burden also lies on us. And it's our duty as a department to see that India becomes developed by the year 2047. Now, talking about development, we know that even in Nagaland, we've got some 60, 70 departments, and they are all working in their own fields. Now, when we talk about, or when we think about development, the first thing that comes to our mind is the good roads, the railways, the airports, or whatever, the medical, the education. Yes, everything should be developed. Only after that we can say that we have a developed country. But now, legal metrology and consumer protection does not take part in repairing roads or, creating infrastructures. But one very important aspect of a developed nation is not only the infrastructure development, just having good roads, just having skyscrapers, it doesn't mean that the country is developed. One very important aspect of a developed country is the consumers, the people, the public should be happy. You should be a satisfied citizen of this country. So only when the citizens are happy, only when the people of the country are satisfied with everything that's going on in the country, then you can call yourself a developed nation. So that is where our department comes into play. So what does the legal metrology and consumer protection do? Now this just, we were talking about packaged commodities. Now our department also looks after these packaged commodities. I think you all understand what packaged commodities are. A packaged commodity is anything that comes in packets. For example, the nearest example is the water bottle in front of you. Now, as per the law, every package should carry so many declarations. The maximum retail price, or when it was manufactured, when it will expire, and who manufactured it. So these are the mandatory rules that a packaged commodity should carry. So I remember that some 26-7 years back, that honorable judge, he gave a very interesting example about consumer awareness and consumer rights. This judge, a very senior judge, he told us his story or an example. And he said like this. See, I have been to many countries. I've been to Japan, I've been to Korea, I've been to most of the European countries, I've been to America also. And then I saw that all these developed nations, they're also using everything in packages only. Everything comes in packets. But the declarations given in the packets are very less. There are hardly anything written in the packets. But whereas in India, every packet that you pick up and see, the whole packet is covered with so many mandatory declarations. That one, that one, that one. But now, he said like this. But in Europe, for example, he was saying, in Europe, when you open a packet, then the volume, the quantity of the things contained is always accurate. If it says 100 gram, it is 100 gram or even more. If it is declared as 500 gram, it is always 500 or 500 or more. And the quality is too good. If it's an eatable item, if you take it, the quality is too good. But now, when you come back to India, there are so many rules and declarations in the packets. But when you open the packet, most of the time, something is always wrong. Either the volume, the quantity is wrong, or the taste is not as good as it is declared. So what he was trying to say was, it is not the law that changes people, but it is the awareness. Now that is what maybe Narendra Modi was talking about in 2023, when he was talking about Viksit Bharat 2047. So by the year 2047, we shouldn't be talking about these things. It should be our responsibility as a buyer or as a seller. Only then you can say that you have a developed nation. So today, with this gratitude in my heart, and taking as a privilege for my department to be coming here to this prestigious college, to see so many young people here, students, I challenge you all in the future. 2047 is not very far away, right? It's about the 22 years only now. So what will you be in 2047? I'm sure all of you will be now grown up by the time. You'll be smart, you'll be doing something. So make sure you take part in the Viksit Bharat 2047, Viksit Nagaland 2047, and then I request you and I challenge you to deliver something for Nagaland and for the country so that we can have a beautiful country, a beautiful state, and then we'll all be satisfied consumers. We won't be punishing each other, we won't be scolding each other, we won't be teaching each other. We will be all equally responsible and make this country a beautiful one. Thank you very much.
Make the most of it, but try not to do anything for which you will regret later in life. When we say change makers, while in college, we also were told that you are the change makers. Somehow we could not understand what does a change maker does, or what is the role of a change maker. But today, as NCS officer, when I'm there in the government level, the policy making level, now I know what do we mean by change maker. So today, I'm very happy to be standing here in front of the change makers of our society. And I'm truly honored and humbled to be here, and I thank God for giving me this privilege. In Nagaland, we have a department called Department of Legal Metrology and Consumer Protection, where I'm the Joint Secretary, and we have a secretary who is the AHOD, and we have an elected member who is the advisor to the department, and our Honorable Chief Minister of Nagaland is the minister in charge of the department. So I'm just giving a gist of the structure, how the department functions, how it is in the government level, and in the directorate, for the department we have a directorate by the name of Legal Metrology and Consumer Protection, which is headed by a controller. And we have officers from there as well. So the Legal Metrology and Consumer Protection Department, besides many other initiatives, we try our best to create awareness, mostly amongst the students, on consumer rights, consumer protection. So this is one of those programs, and I'm very happy with our officers here for all the initiatives taken. and I want to wish them best, and then I want to say keep it up. And coming back to the consumer protection, in the state level, we have a state commission which is headed by a retired judge. And we have district commissions to address the consumer disputes and then to redress them. In the district also we have district commissions in all the districts. So that's a general knowledge which I wanted to give.
This Consumer Protection Act of 1986, it has actually served its purpose to a great extent. But with the emerging of new challenges, now, like digital commerce, online transaction, and misleading advertisement, that 1986 law was not, it is not enacted to tackle these all challenges. So that it, in some way, it has become outdated. So the legislature, they feel that the new law has to be in place. So now that by enacting Consumer Protection Act of 2019, now the old law, that Consumer Protection Act of 1986 is now repealed. And now the one which is in operation is 2019 Consumer Protection Act, and which has come into force on 20 July 2020. Now that is when you want to file consumer cases, it has to be under 2019 Act and not under 1986. Now, every act or law that is enacted by the legislature, to make the act for clarity purpose, there used to be definitions. So, just like that, the Consumer Protection Act of 2019 has definitions. So, without this definition, understanding some important definition, it will be difficult to understand the act. So, I will take you to some of the important definitions that under CPA 2019. Now we talk about consumer. Then what is this consumer? Who is a consumer? This is defined in section 2 clause 7 of CPA. In short, I'll call it CPA for convenience. I think Consumer Protection Act, CPA of 2019. So if I refer to 2019, I'm referring to this act. Now, who is a consumer? A consumer is a person who buys goods or avails service for personal use and not for resale or for commercial purposes. Now, it is very clear, I think. If you buy something, some goods, or if you avail service, it has to be for personal use. And when you buy things, goods, or when you avail service to resale or for commercial purpose, it doesn't come within the category of consumer. Now, in traditional sense, we feel that if I go and buy something from the shop, all of us, we understand that we are a consumer. Then, if I brought that I purchase that and I bring it home, and if that is being consumed by my wife and my children, will they come under the category of consumer? Now, this is also an important thing that they have clarified. Now, if the user has the consent of the person who has purchased that, if that person uses with my consent, then that third person is also the consumer, as per the Consumer Protection Act of 2019. So that is who a consumer is. I think that clarifies who a consumer is. Now, coming to the second term, definition of second term, goods. What is goods? So goods is defined in section 2, clause 2 of the CPA 2019. Now, goods means every kind of movable property and includes food. Every kind of movable property and includes food as defined under Food Safety and Standard Act of 2006. So, goods means it is a movable property and it can include food also. as if it comes within definition of food as per Food and Safety Act of 2006. Now the next term is services. So what is services? Services is defined in section 2, clause 42 of CPA. Services means any service made available to potential users, including facilities in connection with banking, financing, insurance, transport, processing, housing, entertainment. But one thing that you have to know, if it excludes free and personal services. Now the next definition, the term is defect. Defect is defined in section 2, clause 10. Now the defect, what is a defect? Defect means any fault, imperfection, or shortcoming in quality, quantity, potency, purity, or standard required to be maintained by law or under contract. So that is defect. Now coming to the next term, what is deficiency? Deficiency is defined in section 2, clause 11. Now deficiency means any fault, imperfection, shortcoming, or inadequacy in quality, nature, or manner of performance of a service which is required by law or has been undertaken to be performed. So that is deficiency. Now the next term is spurious good. What is a spurious good? It is defined in section 2, clause 43. It means a good which are falsely claimed to be genuine or are an imitation of genuine goods. So that is spurious good. Now coming to a little bit difficult term, and if it is somewhat difficult, I'll try to come up with some example also. Now what is restrictive trade practice? Restrictive trade practice is defined in section 2, clause 41. It is any trade practice which tends to bring about manipulation of price or its conditions of delivery to impose unjustified cost or restriction on consumers. Now, an example of this could be, you went to buy a mobile phone, but they have put this, the seller, they have put a condition that to buy this mobile phone, you have to buy, screen guard and back cover. So they have put that condition on you. So you just want to buy the main product, the mobile phone, but they have put that condition on you that if you have to buy these two accessories also. So this is the example of restrictive trade practice. Now the next is unfair contract. So what is unfair contract? It is defined in section 2, clause 46. It means a contract between a manufacturer or service provider and a consumer having such terms which cause significant change in the rights of consumer, like excessive security or disproportionate penalty. Now, to cite an example, because this definition are a little bit difficult to digest, so I'll come with some more example for this unfair contract. Now, an example of this could be a telecom company offer internet plan, right? Provided broadband connection for a year with the condition that if you terminate before 1 year, you must pay for the entire year. I think those are all still there. And then, this comes under this unfair trade contract, this clause. I mean, it comes under that category. Now, why unfair? Why unfair? Why this is the example that I have stated, how it is unfair. Now, the clause penalty is far greater than the company laws, so it is unfair contract. Now, the second example is, and I think this would be quite relatable to all of us. Now, a coaching center charges ₹1 lakh upfront for the course and state that if student leaves midway, no refund will be given. So I think that is quite relatable. you go to a coaching center, you pay upfront fee of rupees 1 lakh, and then midway if you leave, you will not be refunded. That kind of things are happening also, but it comes under this category. Why unfair? Because it imposes a disproportionate penalty even if student attend few classes. So these are also, it comes under this category, consumer cases. So these are all important. I think that is understood. One is unfair contract. Now the next term is unfair trade practice. Any deceptive or fraudulent practice adopted by a business to promote sales or services, such as false advertisement or false discount. Now, an example of this could be you went to a shop where they offer buy one shirt, get one free. But the seller, cunningly, he has inflated the price of one shirt to such an extent that even if he gave you 2 shirts, he doesn't, he's not making any loss. It's not actually in the real sense of the term, it is not discount at all. So these are also included under this category. Now the next could be misleading at like 100% herbal, where you have used chemicals also. So these also, it comes under this category, unfair trade practice. And then the next may be giving false warranty or guarantee without the intention to honor it. So all these things come under the definition of unfair trade practice. Mediation, it means that it refers to a process where consumer dispute is settled amicably with the assistance of a third neutral party. So when you file consumer cases in the commission can refer, if the parties agree, to refer this matter to a mediation, where the third party, neutral party will mediate, will try to do mediation. And this is actually, even in civil cases, it happens, but even in consumer cases, there is a provision for mediation also. So instead of taking the longest route in getting your relief, you can, midway, you can mediate and you can finish up the case, and then it is the interest of both the parties, the parties that are fighting the case. Now the next is e-commerce. E-commerce is defined in section 2, clause 16, which means buying or selling of goods or services over digital or electronic network. So whatever you would do over, buying over Amazon, Flipkart, Snapdeal, so on and so forth will come under this category. And it will include online or internet-based product like apps, e-books, software, music, or videos that are digitally delivered instead of physically. So that's e-commerce. And now the next important concept is product liability. Now product liability is defined in section 2, clause 34. Product liability means responsibility of a product manufacturer, seller, or service provider to compensate for any harm caused to a consumer by deceptive product or deficiency in service. Under the 1986 Consumer Protection Act, now product liability is, it is confined more so to only the manufacturer. But now, that liability the fault can happen at any point, right? It is not confined only to the manufacturer. Now, the rationale behind including sellers and service provider. Multiple points at fault. A defect may arise not only during manufacturing, but also in storage, transport, labeling, or after-sale service. Now, I'll come up with a very relatable example. Let's take, for example, pressure cooker. Now the pressure cooker, every one of us have pressure cooker at home. So pressure cooker, now faulty pressure cooker explodes because the manufacturer has used substandard metal. So now in this case, the manufacturer will be liable. Now seller mishandling. Now the seller has stored this pressure cooker in a damp condition, weakening its seals, right? So now again, for that, the sellers will be liable. Now the next is wrong information by seller. The seller assures that the pressure cooker is induction, it can be used in induction. So this is a false advertisement, so he will be liable, the seller will be liable for that. Now after that, after you have purchased the pressure cooker, now it needs repair. So while technician repairs pressure cooker negligently causing explosion, now that service provider will be liable for this. So fault can happen at multiple points. So now product liability is also an important concept as per the Consumer Protection Act of 2019. Injury. Injury is defined in section 2, clause 22. Injury means any harm, damage or impairment to any person in body, mind, reputation or property. Now for the other, you may not have very difficulty in understanding, but how can an injury to reputation? So I will emphasize on this concept. How can an injury of reputation can happen in consumer cases? Injury to reputation in consumer context means an injury to reputation occurs when the act or commission of a seller, manufacturer or service provider defames, humiliates or lower the consumer status before others through false or misleading statement, wrongful publication or exposure of private information. Now, illustrative example. Defamatory advertisement. A company publishes a misleading advertisement claiming a particular customer made false complaint, thereby damaging the customer's image. So that's the first example. Now the second example that I would like to make is wrongful blacklisting by a service provider. Let's say a credit card company wrongly lists the customer as loan defaulter in CBIL, right? CBIL is a repository or database which keep the credit information of every customer in India. So the credit card company has listed you as the wrong loan defaulter, thereby damaging your. Well, in the real sense of the term, you have not defaulted loan in any of the banks. So this will come under that category, injury to reputation. Now another important is when you go to hospitals or when you fill up the insurance paper, you may in there you may have inserted or incorporated your medical conditions, right? And then when you visit hospitals, of course the hospitals will know the details of what ailments, or what problems, or what diseases you have. So the insurance company and the hospitals, without your consent, has published those information causing embarrassment or stigma. So these also, it comes under this category of injury to reputation. Sixth step will be admission of complaint. Now when you file cases in the commission will look at your complaint, and if it is maintainable, then the commission will issue notice to the opposite party. And the seventh step will be mediation that I have elaborated, that I have discussed on earlier occasion also. So if the commission feels that there are chances to amicably settle the matter, then the commission will refer the matter to mediation. Now step 8, evidence and hearing. Now the parties will be required to file written submission, affidavits and supporting documents. And in some cases, oral evidence may be permitted when necessary. Generally it's not done, but if it is required, the commission can permit it also. And the 9th step will be order and enforcement. The commission, after hearing, passes an order and provide compensation or corrective action which is binding. Now the orders of the commission is enforceable like a decree of the civil court. And non-compliance with the order of the commission will lead to imprisonment which will not be less than 1 month, and it can be extended up to 3 years. And the fine can also be imposed which shall not be less than 25,000. Now another important point that we have to know is that there is a limitation with we have in law, we have in law the law of limitation. So what is the law of limitation is all about? Now, for every case, even in criminal case, civil case, and even in consumer case also, you have a law of limitation within which you have to file your case in the concerned court. Likewise, in consumer cases, the law of limitation prescribes that you have to file within 2 years. So 2 years, within 2 years, you have to file consumer cases. So when these 2 years will start counting, these 2 years will start counting from the day the cause of action has arisen. So when you know that, for example, you have purchased a mobile phone today and it is not working. So you know that it is not working, but you file after 2 years and 10 days. So the commission will not entertain your.
Nagaland TV, Sop Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Geo TV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapur viewers, we are on channel number 994 in Global Chapter, and Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number 138 on Hornbill Digital. For all news and updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.